Dear Earthmates, in this episode of Earth Civilization Dialogues, we are visiting dear playwright, author, activist Vida Ognjenović in Belgrade, Serbia. Dear Vida, thank you for accepting the invitation.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a wonderful recording.
And I have just learned from you that in Serbian, when we are talking about you, we should say Vida, but when we're talking to you, we should say Vido.
Yes, when you call me, if you call me, address me or whatever, you say Vido. That's the fifth case.
Yes. When we, thanks to PEN, we met more than a decade ago, and we co-founded in a way with the Balkan PEN Network. And in 2013, you became one of the co-signatories of the Earth Civilization Project Declaration to improve our the life on Earth as much as we can. And thank you. When I think of you, dynamic determinism comes to my mind. You know, your creative willpower, and I admire you so much. How did your love in theater and literature start, if I may ask?
Yeah, well, thank you for asking. I've been asked that question many times since, as you know, I'm also a writer and I write novels, prose, and essays, and I'm also a translator. I translate from English and from German. And people ask me what happened, why do I join theater, and studied theater and got my MFA in the States in the theater department of the University of Minnesota. And so on, and I always answer, and I answer sincerely, that it's freedom that it sort of took me to theater. Because, well, the freedom to alter, to change things, and then freedom to choose what to say about something, and how to say, and then freedom to express things that are otherwise inexpressible. I mean, you can't express everything with words. And that, well, you know, that the theater, a theater performance is really a joint venture, as we well know, because as you well know, being in theater too, because so many people, so many artists, so many artisans, so many, and work on a play. And at the end, there is audience, which also contributes, which, and I think also the theater audience is well, the contribution of the people in down there in the theater, on their stools and up there in the balcony, they are creative. That's the very creative watching. And not only that, that's a kind of interfering watching. They watch us on the stage, and they probably alter things watching us. But they think, oh, you don't do that, or no, you should have done that more loudly, or don't fake that slap. You should slap him more. I mean, really, and sort of that. So the audience, the theater watcher, always interested me very much. And myself, when I watch a theater, I think of that. I think, see, this is how they watch us. This is how they live with us while we go on the stage with something. So it's very, I think theater is a field or a sphere where we are not, we are never alone or lonely. We are never just left there to think of on our own. And we don't feel abandoned. When you're in theater, you're always, first of all, you never can sit and do nothing. There isn't such a thing in theater, doing nothing. You can always do something. Watching is doing something, isn't it? Or discussing, or preparing, or rehearsing, or reading, or something. It's always action, action, action. Theater is action, and that action, so it's very inviting, and it's it's obsessive, and it's a kind of obsession, as a matter of fact. And theater is obsessive. It's a drug. Yeah. Sorry,
I agree with you. I agree with you. Theater is the most complete art, I think, that condenses life in a way. Your play about, I read your play about Einstein, his Serbian wife. A very interesting play. What would you like to say about that play?
Yeah, I would like that. It took me 3 years to write that play, and even more. It took me 1.5 years to do the research, because when I first have written a TV play, a TV screenplay, as a matter of fact, for a TV drama, which I directed too, but it was years ago. That was a mid-70s, in 1976 or something. But by that time, the archive in Princeton was closed. His archive, Einstein's archive of documents and of letters and library and everything was still closed, because it's still early to open it, because he or his family or whoever, or he probably in his testament asks to wait for 25 years until they open it up, and they make it public. And then sometimes at the end of 1980 something, 7 or something, when they opened that archive, and I found immense number of much more material than I had before when I wrote the first play, the screenplay, the TV play, especially. And so I went to the States, and then collected material. And when I came back, I started writing. Or first I wrote the story. And there were 3 or 4 books on her life, her biographies and stuff, Paxson biography, but by 2 Englishmen who did a masterpiece and a really good job. So I've read all that material, and I wrote my story about Mileva Einstein, my story. A novelette, a long, not a short story, but a really longer one. And then I dramatized my own story. I made it play, well, then I gave it to a friend. You might know his name. It was Mr. Jovan Ciril of Turan, who was artistic director of Vida, Belgrade International Theatre Festival. Himself was a playwright and also prose writer. And a man of letters, as a matter of fact, a man of books and stuff, and huge library and a wide interest in everything. So he has read it and he grabbed on it. He said, no, we want to stage it this very moment. This very moment I'm taking it to dramaturgs and to the director, and we'll do that. And then come and find the actors and do some sort of casting and stuff. So I prepared, I said, yes, I was ready for that. But then Belgrade was bombed by the wonderful peacekeeper called NATO. So we spent 3 months under the, bombing from up from the sky, and then I was really, I lost my interest in everything almost. I was very depressed, and my colleagues and the theaters were closed, obviously. And after a month and a half, almost 2 months, the theaters opened, but only in two in the afternoon. There were just matinees and stuff, but I couldn't work on that. No. It took us a year and a half after that to start working it, but not at Yugoslav Dramatic Theatre, but we've done it at the National Theatre. That was the theatre that I left. I was asked to leave. I was fired, for political reasons in early 90s. That was 91, 93 when I was asked to, because there was I might have told you that story. In 1991, there was a huge rally in the Place of Republic where we have theater. Remember the National I showed you when you were in Belgrade. So there were 50,000 people down there, and the leaders of opposition parties couldn't address them because they weren't allowed. They were not allowed to have any loudspeakers or anything. I mean, not even a stage or sort of anything where they can address that huge rally. So I opened the balcony of the theater and invited them to come up there. That's the second floor.
Yes, you showed me, I remember.
That's right.
That's right. Thank you.
And then they climbed up, and then the rally was very successful. So successful that the day afterwards, they brought a few tanks out there. So we had a curfew and everything. That was really something. So obviously, I didn't expect to stay. I was the artistic director of the National and general manager, but both general manager and artistic director. So after some time, I had to leave. I was asked to leave and replaced by an actor, as a matter of fact, but he was politically correct, not me. So that politically correct actor did not want to stage Mille Weinstein, not my play at all. I mean, any of my plays. So it was and then was at the beginning of the 2001, when I staged Mille Weinstein at the National. Meanwhile, it's been translated to English and staged in Chicago at the Community Theater. And that was a very good performance. I attended the performance. I went there and I watched it, and I met Madam Director who directed it. But she, before she started that, she came to Belgrade to see my staging, or my performance of that, and then my show that I've done with the actors of the National, and she was impressed. And she said, "I'll do the very same way, only I don't have such a good company, and then such a good bunch of good actors." And I said, "Oh, don't you worry, do it the other way. I mean, the way you can do that, and you don't have to copy my staging. I mean, there is no point." And then she's done very well, I'm sure. And I sent play to Great Britain, asked by a friend there, and he wanted to stage it, but it was too huge for his company. His company is rather small. It's too huge a cast. He needed 22 actors, 33. And he said it would be rather costly, and couldn't do it by that time, probably one day.
Yes, I hope so. And as for your novels, by the way, how do you prefer to write? Is there a specific time of the day, in the morning or evening, or doesn't it matter?
Yeah, not really. There is not a matter of daytime or daylight or night or anything. But when I write, I need 2 or 3 months to do nothing else, to do nothing but. And then that's difficult. That's difficult to find the play, because I teach at the moment. I teach at the university, at the Faculty of Fine Arts. I teach acting. And well, then I wait for the winter break or for the summer break. I never teach summer school and the summer is for me the time to write, because of the light, because of the good weather. You don't have to dress. You have to dress up and to dress warmly and stuff. So that's the time. That's the period of the year when I really work much more than any other part of the year.
And you have been the president of the Serbian PEN Center, a very active PEN Center, and thanks to you, I met a lot of wonderful colleagues. And you are a team as a person. You're a person, an individual who is also a team with so many wonderful areas of fruitfulness. I think the Serbian PEN Center was among the early PEN centers that were established, right?
Yes, as you know, this is the PEN International Centennial this year, and it was it started. It was so it was sort of January. I mean, it was done by a lady, as you know, by a lady writer, and then it was in the after the World War I, and the first president of PEN International was John Goldsworthy. And they started in 1921 in November. And Serbian PEN was established in 1926, 5 years after. And in 2006, 16, we had 90 years of PEN. And then now we have 96 years, and then pretty soon we'll celebrate centennial of our Serbian PEN Center.
Wonderful.
And really, Serbian PEN Center was the first PEN Center, and by that time we already had Yugoslavia, and it was Kingdom Yugoslavia, Kingdom of Yugoslavia. And then after the Second World War, we established or even before that, I think we established Croatian, Slovenian, and Macedonian PEN. And after the World War II, they were established Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegrin PEN, Macedonian, and of course, Slovenian, Croatian, and Serbian. So we had 5 centers, 6 centers. And the six very active centers, and also Yugoslavian center was the central center, I should say. And all centers plus Yugoslavian center were very active, always have been very active. And then, of course, they attended all congresses, we had resolutions and stuff. So they played a very significant role in literary life of Yugoslavia and of republics, Serbia, Croatia, Slovenia, Montenegro, Macedonia, and Bosnia and Herzegovina, because, as you know, we have 3 languages. We have 3 different languages. By that time, we had 1 language for Serbia and Croatia. Nowadays, it's strictly Serbian and Croatian. By that time, it was Serbo-Croatian or Croatian-Serbian. And Montenegro and Bosnia also accepted that to speak Serbo-Croatian. And we had Macedonian, Serbo-Croatian, and Slovenian. Slovenian and Macedonian were different, so we translated back and forth from these languages. And they always attended congresses. Always 1 delegate was from Slovenia and from Macedonia, and 2 or 3 were from other from Croatia or Serbia, Croatia, Montenegro, Bosnia, Croatia, and stuff like that. So we contributed a lot to PEN International. Besides everything, in 1956, we had a congress in Slovenia on Bled. 1956, it was, and then we didn't have anything until 2011 when we had Congress here in Belgrade. Our PEN Center organized the Congress.
And humanity has been through lots of tragedies, I think more than enough. And PEN International and other initiatives, organizations, individual and group initiatives, efforts are to achieve a peaceful world. And what would you recommend to youngsters or to all Earthmates, especially youngsters and who aspire to become theater people or people of literature and freedom? What would you like to say?
I would like to say, hey, people, do not forget that you're human, because it's very dangerous. If you forget that you're human, you'll really then be alone and very lonely, because animals are used to us as humans. And if we forget that we are humans, we won't have animals for us, but they'll be against us. I mean, if I say animals, I also count our pets, I mean, the animals that we choose to keep in our homes or in our backyards and front yards and stuff on a friendly basis. But I'm not speaking only about wild animals, but well, an essayist, a wonderful American essayist, well, he said that we live in a period of posthumanism. And I like that term because we're, as we know, now we speak through our computers, and we became absolutely obsessed by computers and by smartphones and about all that technological wonders. That's 20 years ago, or let's say 50 years ago, that was a dream for us to speak like you and me at the moment speak through this ekran. But then, we are able to see each other on our windows and stuff, and we are able to hear each other, and it's wonderful. But we are not able to touch each other, and then it's a paradox. We are close, we understand and see each other. Still, we're so far, and that's that distance, and that we have, and well, that's somehow that distance really nourished our narcissism. We became only one and only, and we really became yeah, I can see people on the street talking to themselves. I mean, well, they're used to that, being on the computer. They talk to the computer or reading from his smartphone or writing on his smartphone a message and stuff. So he's completely, so a man is alone with his smartphone and lost in his smartphone and in his computer. And it's a paradox that the communication is so faster than ever, faster than we ever imagined it to be. And yet we are farther from each other, or more lonely than we never thought to be. That's what I think. And then my message is, and then in all that, in the middle, from nowhere came that COVID. And then we have masks and we can't talk to him. And I said, well, we forgot what embrace is. We don't embrace anymore. We don't kiss each other anymore. So so we are two, like two trees being across each other and standing with the mask on. I don't know how far it would go. So thank you for doing this Earth thing. Yeah, I think if we keep on reminding people that they are human and they have immense possibilities as human, and think, and our brain is immensely better than our computer, and faster, even faster than our computer, we'll go somewhere. But if not, we're lost.
Thank you so much, dear Vida. Dear Earthmates, we are not putting a full stop. We are putting a little comma here with the hope of more conversations and fruitfulness. Thank you so much. We are together.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Tariq. Yes, we are together and it will be. And please keep in touch and let's do something for that Balkan PEN network.
Will do. Thank you.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Thank you.